For today, we're expecting a high of 57 degrees. The early fog is now gone. So now we have to look forward to what? A change, a drastic change in the weather? We'll talk about that in your full forecast. Until then, back to you.
All right, Paul, thank you so much. We have quite a bit on the plate for today's Midday Money. Our topic includes the state budget woes, the new tax law, and other financial information. Chartered financial analyst Dr. Nancy Anderson breaks it down for us. Happy New Year. Thanks for joining us today.
Good to see you. It's the start of a brand new year.
It is, and hopefully a better brand new year.
Well, 2010 was not bad. And if we look at the stock market, it was actually quite good with the S&P up 12.8%, not shabby. And the NASDAQ, which is full of technology, was up almost 17% for the year. And 2011 has started out great for Wall Street. We've already seen considerable gains added to what we had in 2010. So far, so good.
That is good. You call this reading the tea leaves.
Yes, because everyone is asking what is going to happen in 2011. What will the economy be like? What will the stock market be like? And we sort of have this good news, bad news. We have good news on the stock market front. We do now have a tax law as of the end of the year, so we know with some certainty what things will be like for the next couple of years. And we have good retail numbers out of our Christmas season. Oh my goodness, things were up so nicely, up 5.5% with November and December. That's excellent news. It means consumers were back, and of course that helps with employment numbers, and that's where we've seen a real problem. Is unemployment is still quite high at this point.
Is the retail numbers, is that nationwide or is that exclusive?
It is nationwide, but I think we saw that in Mississippi as well. I don't know if you saw
it
shopping. I think you may be right. I certainly just saw tons of people out there, and they were shopping. They were spending money.
You couldn't get out of a parking lot.
And that's good news for our retailers. Many of our retailers had really suffered. And what that tells us is that when consumers start spending, remember that consumer spending represents 2/3 of our economy. So when consumers start spending, then things start rolling. So that's very good news. And even though unemployment is still very high right now, we are starting to see some news about that dropping. We had just had a jobs report that said that about 300,000 private sector jobs were just added, and some big companies are announcing hiring. GM, Chrysler, big hiring plans for the next quarter. All of those are very good news. Inflation still very low. That's good news. But we have a few areas where we're starting to see prices tick up. In particular, gasoline prices are ticking up, as well as grocery prices. And so we're afraid that that might hurt our spending patterns. Because of course, if it costs more to fill up that gas tank, then you might spend a little less at the mall. So those are some concerns that we're having.
The gas prices are just a thorn in my side. I don't understand
Everyone's.
why the gas it fluctuates so.
I don't think I can explain it to you as well.
I don't think anybody can explain it.
No. It does have to do with demand, and it's sort of this two-edged sword, because when gas prices go up, then that is a sign that our economy is improving, because it means that we're having more demand for oil and fueling growth. But of course, it reaches a point where it becomes a problem, because transportation costs go up so high. And especially for people who live a distance from work, it becomes a difficulty on those folks.
Well, think about it. We were paying anywhere from $1.46 a gallon,
right,
whatever, prior to Katrina. And they're saying $4 to $5 this year.
That's
by
huge.
2012.
That
is huge.
Yes, absolutely.
I mean,
a big difference.
And I'm like, the supply and demand thing just doesn't click for me here.
Well, that's the bad side. The bad news, along with the good news that we're having, is that some of these things could hold us back. Gas prices, grocery prices, and of course our state budget woes. All of the states are still struggling right now. And so if they start cutting its expenses, which means cutting jobs, then that could slow things down. So I'm optimistic for 2011 altogether, but we do have some possible pitfalls out there.
Well, it'll be interesting to see the legislature do its business this year. Because
it's always interesting to see what they do.
Well, last year it was tough, but I think this year it's really tough. Or they seem to be working within a narrower scope even. So much so.
Well, we're hoping that we'll see some of our sales tax revenue bump up. We've already seen some increases there, and that's going to determine what they do on the budget side. And so if those revenues continue to climb, then they will be less likely to cut jobs, and if we can hold on to those jobs, then we'll see additional spending. All good news.
All right, Dr. Nancy Anderson, thank you so much for joining us today, as always.
Thank you.
Coming up, the rumor is out about snow being in the forecast. We'll get a little clarity from